I'm Leanne Teisling, and I am a professor of literacy, language, and culture at Boise State University. I specialize in new literacies, which can also be called literacy and technology, but also in content area literacy, which is the inclusion of literacy development designed for the academic areas, science, social studies, math, language arts. And also, I work with I don't know if you want to call it remedial reading or literacy lab population, but I work every semester with students who come to our university-based literacy lab because they aren't making adequate progress in literacy development. I present at national conferences, international conferences, and I'm also the author of Word Travelers, a book about using online resources to help students develop their vocabulary independent of classroom activities, and that's with Stenhouse Publishers. It's the idea of capturing data during authentic classroom learning activities, projects, inquiry projects, classroom small group activities. I think the most important thing about embedded formative assessment is that it's something that doesn't intrude in the classroom life, that students don't actually feel like they're being assessed. You don't stop instruction to do it. You make sure that you're capturing good data, data that matters in the long run, that helps maintain intrinsic motivation and a student's sense of agency. And that it is used primarily to make instructional decisions, both at the individual, small group, and your entire class setting, so that it's less about reporting data to external parties that are interested in achievement, and instead really trying to capture data that will help teachers make instructional decisions that will help them differentiate instruction, plan instruction, and energize their classrooms. I think it's really, I said some of that, but I think it's really important that teachers and students feel that they are the ones that are really looking for the signs that students are making progress in the kinds of learning skills, strategies, and ideas that are trying to be accomplished within the class. I think too much of the assessment that we've been seeing recently in schools is really of interest only to outside agencies, people that are evaluating schools, and teachers, schools, children, families have become so fixated on these evaluative kind of data that they've they're spending too much time with that and not enough with really assessing what's going on day by day in the classroom. An analogy I use for this is going to the doctors. If you're ill and you go to the doctor and he makes or she makes all her decisions based on what your temperature is, you're not going to get a very good diagnosis about what to do with your symptoms. You really want to have more exhaustive diagnostic information, and that's really what embedded formative assessment does, is it gives the teacher diagnostic information that tells them what they should be doing next to help their students' learning. Well, I think at its best, kids get involved with this, that they set their own learning goals and that they identify elements of their own learning that they want to work on, that they think are important to work on, and that they help self-monitor and judge. Now, that's really tricky because and I've seen it go badly. That you really need to keep a real hands-off approach. As soon as a teacher starts using that as something for grading or evaluation of students, or the district starts using it for evaluation of students, then it doesn't become self-assessment anymore. Then it becomes that high stakes evaluation that ends up judging rather than being useful information. Um, the other part of it, the teacher part, where the teacher is gathering information that he or she wants to use for making judgments about differentiation or about uh, future learning activities or for guiding students, as much as you can keep that under the radar, uh, and I'm not saying stealth or something that's sneaky or anything, but you don't want it to intrude in learning. You don't want anything to break the, hopefully you've managed to establish a flow state in your classroom so that students are really immersed in the learning and they really want to know what's going on and they're actively engaged and they have purpose and all the things that we're shooting for. And then the teacher completes formative assessment in a way that doesn't interrupt that. That's not obvious, not stealthy, but just note taking about what's occurring. And it's particularly within that context, particularly important that the teacher be uh, an active participant in learning, but that students are also active participants so that the teacher isn't standing in front narrating PowerPoint slides. Instead, that students are engaged with learning activities and the teacher can kind of stand back for part of the classroom activity or the adventure or whatever you're doing and make some notes about what they're observing in students.